Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Connector. Doesn't every great opportunity in life begin with a single conversation? I am your connector, Arielle Levitt. Networking, making introductions, and bringing people together from all walks of life to engage, share, learn, and grow is my passion. In this podcast, we dive into the people that are behind the community and connection and have them share with us how different connections in their life grew their business and opportunities. Let's dive into today's episode.
I am so excited to be back here with you guys, and this is a really fun episode because I've actually had this guest on my podcast before, and not only is he a guest and a reoccurring guest or returning guest, but he is a friend and he is a business professional that networks like crazy and great collaborator, and we have done so much business together. We've done a lot of business together. We've referred each other a lot of business together, and now we are collaborating on Ripple. And so Ripple is our next collaboration project that we do. But I mean, we help each other in different ways. Like if I know people that are golfing, I'm like, hey, Drew. So by the way, it's Drew DiAlberto that I have on my podcast. And a lot of people in South Florida do know Drew DiAlberto. And I'm actually going to share a little funny story before bringing you on, Drew.
All right.
But we are part of this group called 6 Degrees, which is a golfing, like networking business professional group. And I met somebody else there, and he's like, this is early on. I've been a part of this group now for 3 years. And I was talking to this other business professional, and he's like, hey, how did you find out about this group? And I go, it was because of Drew. And he goes, Drew? And we were both like, at the same time, DiAlberto?
Oh
like, we
I forgot
both.
about that story.
Yeah, so welcome on again. But so Drew, it was just funny. It was like,
That's good though. And you've been a guest on
your
my
name
podcast
is
too.
like, but no one just says Drew. It's like they say your full name, Drew DiAlberto.
I think having a unique last name is helpful to me.
Yeah.
Because if you meet somebody with my last name, it's most likely my dad because he's at a networking event that you're at.
I don't know. You really created a name for yourself in this community. South Florida community. I mean, also all over.
It's your boy, Dr. Bob Berg's go-giver attitude. If you help people, they'll want to help you too. I mean, it's simple.
Yeah.
Simple math.
It's so true. And the more you do that, the more we collaborate, the more like, okay, let's help each other. What can we do next? Like, what can we collaborate on next? So you have your own networking group called The Dream Team, which you have been doing for a while. And I actually got to go to, which was really fun.
And be the guest speaker.
And be the guest speaker,
yes.
yeah. And it's truly like your networking group is because you want people to create friendships and create relationships and then do business.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's joke around. I mean, when we went, it was right before the Super Bowl. And your question, I liked your question, like who do you think is going to, prediction. And it broke up the ice a little bit and it got some conversation started.
I had to issue a public apology on that because I said that the Chiefs were going to win because it was fixed. So me and Vince Bell, my co-host on my new podcast, had to issue a 2-minute apology, maybe a minute apology, and said, look, we're sorry we told you to bet all your money on the Chiefs. We were wrong. That particular game was not fixed. We got it, we got it wrong on that one.
Definitely not.
Yeah, I congratulated him like 9 days before the Super Bowl started, so.
Wow, you were really confident.
Well, we're conspiracy theorists at heart, so, you can either believe in coincidence or you can believe in conspiracy. You can't do both, so.
That's funny. So like with your group, I met some really amazing individuals there. And actually, I'm doing business with one of them, Ray. He does SEO and different things. And I vibed with him he's just so down to earth.
Yeah. And
I was just blown away with him. And that's the type of people you attract for your group.
Well, I mean, I kind of marketed it to people that I knew were solid connectors like you and said, hey, look, you know what? I'm done with structured networking, B&I specifically. I was president of a couple different groups. I had a great time. I learned a lot. I built amazing relationships, but I feel like you kind of get to a point where you get tired of babysitting adults because you have to kind of keep on people that are probably contributing a lot and it's something silly that you're on them for. So I said, look, we're just going to put a bunch of really awesome, it's kind of the Rich Rogers model without golf. We're going to put a bunch of really awesome people in a room. We're going to have breakfast at a nice place twice a month, and then we're going to do a fun event every 6 weeks or so, and then that's it. You know, a family that plays together, stays together. It took a few years to kind of get really committed people, but we're in year 4 now, and I think we're there, and we're growing with the right go-givers. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the quality of people that were there, I was really like.
And you know, I was sad that I missed the Ripple event because I was at the Indian Princesses camping trip, and that's usually the only thing I say no to an event that I want to go to twice a year. Rich knows because I missed Gulfstream last 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's a cool opportunity to meet great people because I know great people were going to be there. And I got some pictures while I was up in Lake Wales from, hey, why aren't you here? Leah Charbonnet texted me today like, oh, I thought I'd see you at Arielle's event. And she would have if my daughter and I didn't have camping plans.
Which is important. It's important. Totally important to do. But I love how we're collaborating on this with Ripple.
I mean, for me, it was perfect timing. It was an easy decision. You know, I had just gotten rid of the franchise tag on the networking group that was totally unnecessary. So we parted ways, and it's still Dream Team. It just doesn't have some letters involved in it. And there was a lot of reasons for that, but it's not important for this conversation. But it was one of those things where, like, you know, we wanted to go in a direction that we were keeping going, and they wanted to make it like Le Tip or BNI. And I just, that wasn't why I...
No, you do business because you know, like, and trust people.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get to know, like you. I mean, I can feel supremely confident saying, hey, look, you really need to meet this person. They can give you a lot of business. You can give them a lot of business. You know, go make a new friend.
But as a networker, you're really using Ripple, like, you know, to look up events and, like, you see the value of it.
You know, and I wasn't until you got Rich and 6 Degrees to adopt it pretty quickly, and you came in and gave that presentation, and at the same time that everybody's like, well, now that we don't have a website, by the way, nobody used the website that we had for the networking group ever. But now that we don't have a website, what kind of technology are we going to have? And I was like, I got something that blows a website. I'm like, websites were cool in the 80s and 90s. Like, where are we going with this? You know, here's an app. The guest can check in. You could check in. If you forget who somebody was, and I got a message on WhatsApp today. Hey, I forgot who this person is that does commercial lending that Drew knows really well. Does anybody remember? And it happens to be a guy named Bud. And I was like, yeah, here's Bud's number. But by the way, if we had Ripple 4 months ago, then you would have just gone to that day and been like, oh, shoot, it was the guy from Corporate Capital.
And then it takes you out of it. You don't have to deal with all of this. And it's in everybody's phones.
No, and I mean, look, we just had kind of like our second or third test of it, maybe our second meeting, I think it was. And everybody checked in, and the guests created profiles and checked in. So I was like, okay, I must have explained this really well, or it's great technology, or some combination or collaboration, like you like to say, but it works.
But it's a new way of training brains, right? Like, even for yourself and for myself, like, I'm still like, oh gosh, I gotta make sure, like,
you just make it easy. That's all there. You know, when you simplify something or solve a problem people don't know that they have, you've got something.
Yeah.
And and where'd you come up with the idea for Ripple? We never even talked about this.
I know. It was brainstorming with a best friend of mine where she was like, it's so funny. Somebody had mistaken me and thought I had like an online course or whatever. And I was like, oh, no. I don't do online courses. No. You had me mistaken with somebody else.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't teach. That's not my jam. And so I was like, but that's funny that she mistaken me for that, right? And so then I'm talking to my best friend, and she's like, I was telling her about this, and she goes, well, I kind of do see you with like an online like app type of thing. And as soon as she said those words to me, it just like the light bulb went off, and I could see the whole thing of how I wanted this to be structured. And I'm like, if I'm solving a problem that's hard for me, like, and as a networker, I'm like, this has got to be solving other problems, you know.
Yeah. So have people started recognizing you from your podcast yet?
Oh yeah. Podcast and Ripple. Well, Ripple is really funny.
Ripple more than the podcast.
It's really amazing. Like, people will be like, oh wait, I've heard of Ripple. Like, you're the creator? And I'm like, what? You heard about Ripple already?
I had that moment myself at the PGA show this year because these guys from Illinois were in our booth, at Winners Award Group booth, and they go, oh, you know, you look familiar. And I said, oh, well, you know, you might have heard of me. And they were like, wait a minute, you have a podcast. Oh. And I looked at them kind of sideways. I thought it was being set up. Because that's the type of prank that we would pull on each other. Like Lou and Nick would easily go, hey, go tell that guy that you listen to the On Par podcast and see what his reaction is. But it wasn't that. They literally showed me that they followed me on Spotify. I think one on YouTube and one. And I'm like, oh, that was pretty. So, of course, I had a big smile on my face. But these guys were cool. You know?
It's a cool moment.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, because obviously golf is a huge area for you. You do a lot of business through golf.
I mean, 25% of our business is in private golf courses across the U.S.
Yeah.
Right? Because we do all their member gifts, we do their tournament swag, we do their awards, we do their, you know, special member recognition stuff, we do their perpetual plaques, we do their signage in a lot of cases. I mean, we do a lot at private golf courses. But the guys that bought the company 21 years ago, Lou and Nick Chiera, turned that into, well, we can use golf as our in with all these decision makers at all these small and middle market companies. And they grew the corporate side. You know, when they bought the business, it was 75% golf and 25% corporate. Now it's 80% corporate and 20% golf. And we just broke into the racket sports market recently too. But the idea is, when I started the On Par podcast, I met Lou and I said, let's do one to promote your charity. Let me, you know, I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not going to get the following that, you know, the greatest podcaster and most listened to guy gets. But, you know, we've got a following. It's growing, and we'll get more eyes on your charity. And I don't charge anything because I'm not famous, right? I can't charge, even if I wanted. I guess I could, but it's a nonprofit sending cancer kids to camp. Like, I'm not going to charge the guy. I would feel horrible, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
I mean, that would be a little, yeah.
But no, it's, and yeah, I mean, you get to know people on the golf course, just like in networking, but you've got them for 5 or 6 hours most times, and nobody talks business out there. It really gets done on the 19th hole. That's where the magic happens, because then all of a sudden you get to like Arielle after the 5 hours you just spent together. Hey, Arielle, what can I do to help you? What do you actually even do for a living? Because we only talked about, you know, your mom, who I met a handful of times, and your practice, Dr. Harley, great guy, got me on the carnivore diet, and, you know, I convinced him to tell me to do the carnivore diet. And
you did it.
Yeah, it's great. It was great.
But I want to talk about business, and because like business, 100% of business is done because of liking and trusting somebody.
Yeah, you build a relationship, and then you feel you want to help it. You want to help your friends.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can start a business, but you need relationships to actually continue it or grow it.
Yeah.
And so starting businesses or starting things, you have your podcast, On Par Podcast. You also have yet another podcast.
Yeah.
And I want to talk, there's a couple of areas I want to go in with you, because you are an entrepreneur, you are a go-giver, and you also have different avenues, but it all relates back to golf.
Golf does seem to be the common denominator.
All roads lead back to golf with
I
Drew DiAlberto.
I do have 2 other hobbies, though. I like shooting guns because I taught personal defense for a while. Okay. And I'm also a really good cook. So I'm not just a one-trick pony. I have other talents. Anyway, go back to golf.
But you only talk about this for like 30 seconds, and then that's pretty,
Depends on the audience, but yeah, pretty much.
So On Par Foundation, let's talk about that for a minute.
So I was the chairman of the 100-hole challenge 5 years in a row.
Yeah. So you started this how long ago?
January. So a month and a half ago.
Okay. And what is this foundation doing?
Basically, we're a charity helping other charities. So as the chairman of the 100-hole challenge, I learned how to run a 100-hole challenge and recruit golfers. And now I want to open it up to a bunch of nonprofits instead of just one. So the idea is Lou can come do it for Nick's camp. Okay. And you could pick a charity and play 100 holes of golf in one day for your favorite charity. And Eric Chafin from Children's Harbor can raise money for Children's Harbor, and I have a lot of nonprofit clients because we partner with nonprofits in a lot of cases, and we wind up giving money back to them as we're doing business with them. So the idea was, okay, there's two problems that I saw. Is one, the 100-hole challenge is only for one charity, and it's captive. And the second was that a lot of these clients have leftover swag after their events, which is my business, right? I know about promotional items and gifts and all of that stuff. And it's collecting dust in a warehouse that they're paying storage for, or in somebody's garage if the charity's a little smaller. And none of them have big budgets to start an online platform or e-commerce site. But if we start one for them and just put their leftover swag on there, priced right, and they promote it to all of their ambassadors, and so it's an idea. Haven't proved the concept yet, but I have actually Romy Wallach's son Jonah is volunteering, and he's helping create the backbone of the Shopify site. So, but I mean, I envision it to grow into poker tournaments because I like poker tournaments and golf, golf events and things like that.
I mean, it's the fact that you're just like going out there, you're trying it, you're throwing an idea out there, you're getting people to volunteer for this, you're kind of giving them experience.
Yeah,
right?
I'm a maniac,
you're
so I need other
community.
maniacs.
But you're creating community also, and while you're doing this. And so it's entrepreneurship. It's all you do is like throw things at the wall until something sticks.
Well, you don't realize how much nonprofits can help each other either, because they're all kind of thinking, okay, we got to raise money, we got to raise money, we got to raise money. But, we had Doc Reno from Big 105.9 in the studio yesterday for On Par podcast. And he came in and he met Lou and Nick, and they have a cancer charity that's, gets scholarships for these kids. His Doc's charity, My Family Matters Foundation, helps them get money for bills for travel, for treatment, and non-medical expenses for the parents that are going through this if they get fired or have to go part-time because they're taking care of a kid. So now Doc, after he helps them financially, helps the family financially, he can say, hey, what about this summer camp? Or what about Nick's ice skating? Or what about a scholarship so you can grow up and be an oncologist and help kids that have the same cancer that you have?
Yeah. No, it's so much you can do. And we're going to continue more of this journey in just a few minutes. Moments. I can't even talk right now. When we come back from this commercial break.
Chase Studio is about making your home feel like you have a space that reflects your personality, style, and life. Whether it's a renovation, new build, or room refresh, Chase Studio offers 2D and 3D design packages to bring your vision to life. Our 2D packages are perfect for those who want a quick, stylish update, while our 3D packages take it to the next level, giving you a full walkthrough of the space before it's built. With our interactive 3D walkthrough, you can experience your space in real time, ensuring the layout and design are just right before you commit. Plus, if you're tackling a renovation or a new build, Chase Studios full-service design ensures your home is functional, beautiful, and truly you every step of the way. Let's make your dream space a reality. Visit Chase Studio at chasestudiodesign.com to learn more. Feeling the pain after a car accident, work injury, or just challenges of everyday life? At MedAmerica in Deerfield Beach, we're here to help you feel better and get back to doing what you love. Our certified outpatient rehabilitation facility offers expert chiropractic care and physical therapy, all tailored to you. With one-on-one attention from our experienced team, we focus on relieving your pain and helping you heal. Call 954-428-4707 today or visit medamericarehab.com. MedAmerica, where better starts here. Every great business needs a board. As a women business owner, you deserve one too. Welcome to the boardroom, where women entrepreneurs find the support, focus, and community they need to grow their business. The boardroom is a sounding board for ideas, challenges, and success to build connections, gain insight, and stay focused on creating your best business yet. Call 954-428-4707 888-994-4707 today for more information on the boardroom. Empower your business because success starts here. You've been listening to the Connector Podcast, where we talk about how being open to the right conversations can open up so many opportunities to build your business. Call to the show at 888-994-4995, Studio A.
This is such a fun conversation on how we can go from one area to another area, but everything with Drew flows. It all goes together, even though they're all sorts of all over the place things, but they're not really, because they all are like connecting the dots to other things. And
I'm glad you understand me, because very few do, so I appreciate that. Keep going. You're on a roll.
Yeah, no, you do. And then like you just did this PGA show booth, like for the golf professionals.
Yeah.
And so you were just telling me how like it was truly a blessing of what happened. Like you never would probably really ask for rain at a golf golf show, but like you got rain and it was the biggest blessing.
Well, yeah, we've exhibited at the show 22 years, so it was my third year there, but the company's 22nd year there, and it was towards the end of January when we had that crazy cold wave run all through North Florida, and we were in Orlando, and I had never heard of black ice outside of when I lived in the Midwest. So we had black ice and freezing rain, and it was like the coldest they've ever been at the PGA show. So all of the head pros and GMs and the bigwigs that make the decisions had to cancel their tee times, because they're thinking, I'm from Minnesota, and it's 5 inches of snow on the ground if we're lucky, and it's 2 degrees or minus whatever. I mean, some have told us it was minus degrees, which I'm like, that's not a real thing. We live in Florida. We don't do that. But yeah, our booth was 230% busier than a year ago.
That's a big percentage.
So yeah, this is kind of like the first day I've gotten out, and we're in mid-March at this point. So
it's keeping you busy, which is
it's the good kind of busy though.
That's what
right?
you want. You want golf to keep you busy.
We're dealing with the right professionals. They're dealing with the right professionals, we think anyway, and they do. And it's an old school, gentleman's club, if you will. There are some head pros that are ladies and GMs that are ladies, but it's rare. Yeah. But so it's kind of like an old school gentleman's club, and if you're in the golf club, people want to do business with people that they share that common interest with.
It's like pickleball. Like if you don't pickleball, you are out of the cult. Like I've never pickleballed, but
I picked up a pickleball paddle so I could play pickleball with my dad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm playing.
It's either I think you like it or you don't like it.
Well, I like one-on-one. I like one-on-one pickleball because I want to sweat when I'm out there
But
exercising.
I think it's like almost more cliquey than golf, to tell you the truth.
It's a cult.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Like golf is a sport. Pickleball is a cult. No, I don't know.
Pickleball is ping pong while standing on the table, right?
Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah, it's fun though. I like one-on-one. I played Sunday morning at 6 o'clock with my golf instructor and my co-host on Par.
Yeah, no, I should probably try it before I knock it.
6 a.m., you're invited.
I don't know about that.
All right.
It's hard enough to get me into.
Kids people have, different schedules.
Yeah, definitely. And how one podcast, I want to transition this also, is to you did the On Par podcast. You started podcasting.
Yeah.
And then now you moved it into another podcast, because I think it's once you start one podcast, you're like...
I didn't really want or need a podcast in the first place, and I didn't really think about doing a second one. On Par's still going. We're over 100 episodes, and we're using it primarily to promote all these charity golf tournaments now, because it just is a great niche, and it makes me feel good. So
do it,
yeah.
right?
But I actually, that's how I met Vince Bell, my twin on Podcast Twins, who we don't actually look alike, but that's part of the charm. So Dawn Smith, who's my golf tournament planner friend, great referral partner, all the things you said about me earlier that were complimentary, I would say about Dawn. And she introduced me to Vince and said, hey, look, he's doing the Pompano Kappa's golf tournament. He's kind of new to that chapter, but he knows golf, and you guys will be great. He's got a big personality, super dynamic. You'll love it. You'll have a great show. So he comes up to the showroom in Coconut Creek, where you've been a handful of times for being a guest on Par. And so he comes in, and we have an instant click. And it was one of those things where the show was amazing. We had like a 2-minute show prep because everybody was late. And we wound up realizing that we're both going on the same golf trip with Dawn and 24 other guys to Streamsong up in the middle of the state. Famous golf course, big time, golf tourist trap, if you will. And he goes, "Oh, Greg Johnson is going to be there." So we found another mutual friend. So we took a selfie, and I texted it to Greg, and he goes, "Oh my God, I knew it all along, the podcast twins."
Oh, so
And
that's how it was birthed.
we just kind of laughed. And then at the end of our second podcast, because I did a live one with Vince to promote the golf tournament for content for next year, and he goes, "Would you ever think about having a podcast where you talk about way types of controversial stuff?" And I was like, I'm a pretty controversial guy, or can be. On Par, not controversial at all. Yeah. Right? It's golf, it's business, it's networking, it's helping charities. Nobody's going to cancel the On Par podcast.
Us Jews would call that kosher.
It's kosher. But Podcast Twins, it was kind of going along pretty normal stuff the first 2 episodes. I think the hardest topic we conquered, which everybody knows by now, is like eating poison in our food. And so we got off on that tangent. And then the 3rd episode, Vince out of nowhere asks me if I got COVID jabs.
Okay.
And I went and told a story, and then we told some COVID stories. And, that's a hot button topic that people are still mad about.
Yep.
And, to be honest, I still haven't gotten any apologies from anybody that, banned me from social gatherings or anything like that. And I don't expect them. So it is what it is. But then, he wanted to talk about 9/11. He wanted to talk about the moon landing. I said, why not go all the way? We can talk about God on a podcast. Or we can and we talked about the word woke.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that black people, Kirsten and Vince, hate the word woke. Because in the 60s, it was used as like, a stay woke, my brother kind of thing. And then they feel, and Vince said that, the word has been completely turned on its ear, and it means something way different than it did in the 60s.
Well, that's also like the Black Lives Matter things. A lot, like there's some people that are like black people that are really upset with the whole thing.
Well, I mean, and then you look at where the money went on anything political, and you're like, well, wait a minute. It wasn't really what it was supposed to be, and we're seeing a ton of that now, and we'll talk more about that on Podcast Twins too.
Your show almost should be like, "Don't cancel us, we're not PC," or like, we're not PC.
I have a life and energy coach that I hope will come on and talk about ways to cope with the depression of watching news. Yeah. And things like that. I mean, or social media. I mean, I think that whatever techniques she have, I mean, other than turn the TV off, which is a good technique, and go play golf. That's my thing. Go play golf. You're not going to get in a social media fight.
And go play golf.
That's my advice.
Or just don't watch it. I just don't watch TV. People are like, "You do not hear?" I'm like, "No, I live under a rock." And I'm happy
when
under
people
my rock.
tell me, and I used to be a football addict on Saturdays and Sundays, and I look back and go, man, I wasted 15 hours a day watching football. And now it's like, if someone tells me, oh, I can't go play golf on Sunday because my favorite football team is playing, I'm like, all right, I'll just call somebody else then. Fine.
Oh my gosh. Well, we got a little risque towards the end of this episode.
Listen to Podcast Twins if you want risque.
All I can say is yes. If you want risque, talk to Drew. Drew, where can they find you? Where can everybody find you?
I mean, Podcast Twins is on Spotify and YouTube. On Par's on everything. Apple, Google, all of those. And winnersawardgroup.com is my company. And we got...
any sort of promo needs.
That's right.
Yes.
Anything you could put a logo on, we'll help you with it.
Definitely clothing, for sure. I mean, you do a lot of other things, but clothing or awards are 2 huge specialty areas that you do.
A lot of gifts and member gifts and client gifts and employee gifts as well. Yeah. But onparfoundation.org will be the website. It's not launched yet, but that'll be up.
Coming to a website near you.
I think we're a week or 2 away.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. This is so much fun. Thank you guys for joining us every week. Me, my guests, all of us. I don't know, us. Sometimes do you say your name as a we? Sometimes I'm like Arielle in the third person.
Well, you can use any pronouns you want.
Okay, so I look forward to seeing you all next week for a whole new episode. I know, no. Look forward to seeing you all next week for a whole new episode. Before you go, can you subscribe, write a review, do all the things? It really does help. And if there is something in this episode that you liked, please share it with a friend and send it over and or give us a shout out. All right, look forward to seeing you all next week for a whole new episode.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to connect with me here. I love to hear more from you at arielletheconnector@gmail.com. See you all next week for a whole new connection.